guys, Easy22X here. Today we're gonna talk about Kyogre. If you haven't checked out Series 7A rules, we are gonna be allowed to use one restricted legendary Pokemon for rank until April 30. And one of the most used Pokemons right now in Showdown, in a couple of tournaments I participated to, is Kyogre. If you guys haven't checked out, a lot of streamers have all been praising Kyogre as a top tier Pokemon. Kyogre's base stats, as you can see, is HP 100, attack 100, defense 90, special attack 150, special defense 140, and speed 90. So its defense is a little bit weak, and speed is not probably in the right, a little buff of the fastest Pokemon. So a little bit support is gonna be needed for this Kyogre, but in general, this Pokemon is amazing, especially because out of the 3 range setters that we have, Kyogre outclasses both Pelipper and Polito, being as either as a strong lead or even like just a little more supportive build. But we're gonna be talking about the 3 different sets of popular builds that I've seen around, and I will also like mention and one that I haven't tested, but I think it's pretty cool if done. But just give a sec. Alright, the first build we're gonna be talking about is a pretty standard build, especially regarding the EVs. I believe this is a very beginner friendly build that I have personally also used myself while trying to figure out how good Kyogre is. So it's just 52 on special attack and speed, and then 4 in special defense. Timid nature, just because we want to make sure outspeeding the other Kyogre when possible, or just in general be a speedy mon. I decided to give it Protect, Ice Beam, Thunder, and Water Sprout. And the reason why we go with Ice Beam and Thunder, I think is because you want a variety. Ice Beam, for potential Gastrodon matchups, Thunder for the Kyogre mirror matchup, and Water Sprout is the standard route. Every single Kyogre will have Water Sprout. Alright, so Protect is a little bit more of like, I personally prefer the Protect on my Kyogre, but you could also have Origin Pulse. This is a very, very strong attack, and a lot of other Kyogres potentially also have it, but the reason why I don't personally have it is because I don't want to go with the 85% chance. Kyogre is a really good Pokemon in general on its own, but as a Dynamax partner, or even not needing Dynamax, because like I said, Water Sprout will hit both Pokemons, and just hitting 2 instead of 1 is so really good. A good pairing for Kyogre is obviously going to be a Lightning Rock Pokemon. There's teams like +1 who made a Pikachu Gigmax Lightning Rock pairing. There's also Kindra, because Kindra you can Dynamax, Max Airstream, and then Kyogre will be the second thing fastest. We'll also speed up Kindra. Thunderous actually is what is pretty popular right now. They already has a name too, but Kyogre and Tornadus is a really, really good pairing too for this build. And the reason why I didn't want to put any bulk is because I didn't think it needed it. The base stats of these Pokemon are high enough that it just feels very comfortable. But obviously, once I started fighting more Regielekis and other stuff, I did realize like it might not be good, right? Maybe you do want to invest, and then its attack is so good. Like Water Sprout is already hurting so much, it just in general it doesn't need it. But yeah, we're gonna talk about 2 other builds, a little bit more around like specific matchups, how to make it better. But even if you just do a 252 one, which there's a couple people that usually will also have this, it's still pretty good, like I said. And you obviously could replace Ice Beam or Thunder for Origin Pulse if you'd rather. You could also put a Scald, but this is actually like a good coverage overall in my opinion. Alright, the next build we're going to talk about Joey X Knight's Kyogre. They also have Mystical Water. Mystical Water is a really cool item because it does a 1.2 power to your water moves. And they actually have a very similar build that I have, except they, once again, want to mention, they have Origin Pulse. But they also go with a Mother's Nature. They still keep the Protect, and the Ice Beam, like I said, the Ice Beam is there for the matchup against potential Gastrodon or ground, like ones that you know, I don't expect you see Gastrodons, but Ice Beam is there for like the flying ones, for the grass ones too, and for Gastrodon too, because if you had Thunder instead of Ice Beam, it wouldn't be good. Origin Pulse, like I said, I I've been using Kyogre so much and I never risk it so far because either Water Sprout or Ice Beam. But you know, if your style want to be spicy, Orange Impulse is always good. Right, let's talk a little bit more about his EVs. Joe actually doesn't go full speed. They invest a lot of on the HP, not much on defense, not full at special attack, but they spread out it between HP, special attack, and speed. And the thing is, the rental team he has, he pairs it actually with a Tornadoes, right? That has Tailwind too. So this is why it also has a Regieleki on his team. So you don't need to, if you have support monsters that will help you guarantee that you're the fastest Pokemon potentially, you don't need to invest the 252 in speed. The Kyogre will be fast enough, and then investing like your points on instead on HP will make sure that this Kyogre will be super bulky. I actually fought this Kyogre in a 1v1 in a recent 86 matchup. I thankfully did end up winning, but like my Raichu full special attack did nothing. Grassy Glide thankfully did a lot more, but this is a very tanky Kyogre that can do a lot of damage. For example, his Kyogre, Max Geyser Kyogre, will almost KO Dynamax Metagross. It was insane. It was really cool, but yeah, it's a really good build that I really like. Like I said, it doesn't have to be fast because of a lot of Pokemons it works, and that's the important thing. Is that once you leave the 252 route and go more EV specifics, it's where what Pokemon support this team. And this Kyogre in his team, they have a Mungus with Rage Powder, they have an Incineroar too, to like fake out or taunt other users. It has a Regieleki for screens, or Electro Web to slow other Pokemons, has Tornadoes, which again, if you has also Rain Dance. So if you miss because they decide to bring a Torkoal or like your weather change, you can have that Rain Dance deck too. It also has Tailwind. And it's just amazing. Kyogre is fully supported, and it's when you specifically build these EVs, should be around those. Alright guys, and the last build we're going to talk about is Turomania BGC's build. They go with the Wave Instance instead of the Mystic Water, but they both do the same thing. They actually are Timid Nature instead of Modest, and and we can see the investment difference between the original 252 and Joe's and this one. Turtle I goes for the 252 special attack though, which I understand, especially being timid. But does put more investment in the speed still, and just a little bit more investment in the defense. I believe that there's a reason why he did it, and I don't quite remember what it was. Besides that, maybe it's because they know that Kyogre's, like, you know, base defense is pretty weak, and then for the matchups again, Rillaboom or maybe like a Tornadoes, opposite Tornadoes is actually would be pretty good, because like I said, Kyogre's base stat as a special defense is actually pretty high. Well, a little 10 plus higher than the defense. So I will think of my Marine. And the really cool thing about this specific Kyogre set that I like from him is the skull. I personally think that Skull is actually really important here, because Skull, I don't know about him, but I usually get burns with Skull, and I might jinx myself, but I do believe that's why he has the Skull instead of like potentially maybe a Thunder, because if you're doing mirror matches, it's like, do they have a Raichu or a Lightning Rod Pokemon? I mean, and Skull is pretty safe, right? You already have the Ice Beam for the potential of the grass type matchups or the Gastrodon matchup. The Skull is there as maybe, you know, single target if you don't need to like affect anything still, or just get a burn on the Pokemon, which is actually really huge, because we will see a rise of physical attackers too coming back, even with the Intimidates in this meta. Alright, to wrap up this video, we're gonna be talking about some popular pairings for Kyogre. The best ship for Kyogre right now is Tornadoes. Either have a Citrus Berry with Joe's build, either has a Sash to make sure, but Kyogre is really shines, especially with a Tornadoes next to it. Not only does Tornado will support with Rain Downs, it also has Tailwind, and besides Whimsicott, is really has Taunt too, and doesn't get affected by Psychic Terrain because it's a flying one. That's right. If you ever seen, like, if you like can't fake out because of terrain, well, you can still taunt because it's flying. Granted, you can also get faked out as a flying one, but it's something I noticed that some people forgot, and I got away with it a few times. But yeah, besides Whimsicott, Tornado is actually, you know, is the next fastest prankster, and will like deal with a lot of cool things. Additionally, like some teams are also pairing Tornadoes with Metagross, and Tornadoes also learns Brutal Swing. But back to a Rain Core, Kyogre likes to be a very unique Pokemon in some, right? But it also can be paired with Kindra. Kindra is your staple Pokemon when making a core Rain team, because Kindra gets Swift Swing, and it is the most like is the favorite matchup used to you when pairing Rain teams. If you haven't checked out, you know, it was Pelipper, Kindra, and then Polito came, and then became Politom Kindra. Now it's Kyogre and Kindra. Give it a Live Orb, Max Airstream 2 to help out the speed if you want to start. Both very aggressive start with Kyogre and Kindra. And I think I also like, it's a little risky, but if you give Muddy Water and Water Spout, usually KOs, unless they change the word, usually KOs whatever your opponent actually has. Obviously, Muddy Water, if it fails, then GG's. But I actually really like using both of them when I see the opposing team using things like Redirection. I had like in DD Porygon 2, as long as you don't miss the Muddy Water, they both go down. Another really good meta that has been going in DD, also with Geomancy Cernius, Muddy Water, Water Sprout. So it's pretty really cool. Obviously people will work around these things, but I really like it. It's almost like the Excadrill T-Tar where you like, you know, double Rock Slide, but at least Water Sprout. Okay, you will always know that at least Water Sprout would usually go out just fine. Another cool pairing when you're trying to think about Dynamaxing Kyogre as it being your main Pokemon instead, it's Raichu. Raichu is a really fast Pokemon with Lightning Rod. That means like Regieleki, you might as well Electro Web, or because you're not gonna be able to really touch your Kyogre with a Regieleki, and Regieleki is actually very popular. Also, Raichu knows Brutal Swing for those teams that have Metagross for the steel coverage. It also learns Eerie Impulse, and I think that's really good, because especially against opposing matchups, that Electro Web 2 will be very good at slow down in Pokemon. And lastly, we all love Regieleki. It's such a broken Pokemon, the fastest Pokemon that I don't even know what they were thinking when they created this thing. But Regieleki, once again, you can set up screens. You can be an offensive Regieleki with Electro Web, slow them down first, get Kyogre to do a Water Sprout, or set screens because like Kyogre is so bulky and it's just gonna like not hurt you, or you know, give it a magnet and even hurt it more. So granted, a lot of alternatives. This is the 4 of these ones are not the only potential pairings for Kyogre, but are the ones that I've noticed that work the best, support Kyogre pretty well, and just like fit like someone that is like either trying to be a little slower in their game or trying to like be super aggressive. So this is why I really like Kyogre. It's a very beginner friendly Pokemon in my opinion to use. Is very standard, like there's XYZ, but obviously for bigger games, especially mirror matches and stuff like that, it gets a little bit more intense. And to end this YouTube video, here is a rental for my Kyogre team. I really enjoy it. I had a lot of fun of using it, and showed in the ladder. There's also like you don't want to practice with it. The pace is also gonna be given. But yeah, the new Series 8 is almost here. There's probably gonna be more information about how the meta is gonna be, but especially with a couple of tournaments coming in. But like I said, Kyogre is gonna be a pretty big threat in my opinion, and you just gotta make sure to have something for it. And again, guys, thank you for watching. Until next time, bye.